In early March, I was asked to help trap a dog in rural San Miguel. There were multiple sightings of the dog by a good Samaritan that lived nearby on a ranch. It seemed obvious the dog was abandoned, and efforts to locate an owner validated the sad situation. Initial sightings were northeast of San Miguel, then days later at an abandoned airstrip to the south, where I was scouting the area. I observed the dog entering an old airplane hangar, so I placed cameras, food, and water in an effort to keep the dog coming by so he could be trapped. Seeing that the dog returned, I placed a box trap and monitored him using a wireless camera. Sadly, he would not fully enter the trap after many attempts to have him go in. Since he didn't like the box trap, I deployed my much larger homebrew trap. The wide entry usually works for dogs that are trap savvy, but after a week or more of using high-quality bait, he also would not fully enter this trap. When dogs won't enter a typical trap, it's time to use a Missy Trap. A Missy Trap consists of fence panels that are assembled over a period of days or more, so the dog feels comfortable going in for food. When a dog is habituated to go in, an infrared beam is used to trip the door and secure the dog. About a week into this process, the dog suddenly disappeared. I became concerned for the dog's welfare and began a search for him over a wide area. To my relief, several new sightings came in further south from a resident Good Samaritan. As he was not returning to the hangar for food anymore, he must have at least one other food source, maybe more. One day while out looking, I saw the dog near a small municipal building. And so there it was. Someone had put out a food station for him. I left a note with my name and number asking to be called. The next day I got a call from a great guy that was looking out for the dog. I shared my plans to trap the dog, and he was very helpful in the process by allowing me to place a trap on the property. This was a major step as the dog was not likely to ever return to the hangar again. I moved my big homebrew trap back out to see if the dog might go in at this location. Over the course of more than a week, the dog never fully went into the trap, even with a wide variety of food placed inside many times. Given the fact there are ranchers in the area that would shoot the dog, and because the dog would frequently travel on nearby roads with cars traveling at high speeds, my sense of urgency to trap the dog became much greater. And so I chose to use the trapper's tool of last resort, a collarum. The collarum is a spring-loaded mechanism that rapidly throws a cable over the dog's head when it leans down to take the bait on the trigger pull. One of the important aspects of the collarum is to ensure the dog approaches it straight on when biting the bait. To do so, I place multiple pots in a fashion to guide the dog straight into his existing food dish, and this is where the collarum would be placed. And so the day came to trap the dog using the collarum. Melanie and I got up extra early and drove the 18 miles to the site. We deployed the collarum and staged other equipment on site. Then we drove a short distance away and waited. About 3 hours later, the dog appeared briefly, but was scared off by a vehicle. An hour later, he returned. We waited for the alert from the cell camera to let us know he was there. Suddenly, and before any alert was heard, we could hear a faint whimpering. Knowing it was the dog in the snare, we raced over in less than a minute to find him secured by the collarum. We approached slowly, one at a time, and he settled down quickly, allowing us to place a catch pole lead, a slip leash on him while removing the collarum line. The dog remained very calm, especially given the circumstances. We gave him some hugs to let him know it's going to be okay and placed him in a crate. Our first stop was at a veterinarian hospital to have him looked at to be sure there was no injuries caused by the collarum or by other means. We got a thumbs up from the doctor, so we continued on to Central Coast Dog Herding Rescue, where the dog will be safe, secure, and the opportunity to decompress for a few weeks after his long journey alone in some difficult terrain and weather.